I'm good, dude. Welcome back. I appreciate you joining on like zero notice. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to be back. Last time I was here, I saw that little table of coin
Uh-huh.
performances, and I was like, man, I need to get back on TG's stream because it was a good omen last time. So
Yeah,
we're back.
did like a
We're
thirty
back.
million X after.
Yeah.
And if we're in a similar spot here, I know you've done a bunch of media today, so I won't maybe keep you super long, but yesterday was kind of crazy, dude.
Dude,
I traded and sold, but it was just for a scalp. But
all good. It's all
we were
good.
on stream.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was doing. I was looking at charts, whatever, and people are like, "Yo, wrecked." And I pulled up the chart, and my first thought is like, okay, token is down like 75% or whatever from ATH. Is also down an additional 70% in 15 minutes. I don't know what happened, but like something probably broke. I know this guy's not rugging. I should just buy this, and so I just closed my eyes and like click the green button. And then I was reading some of your follow up tweets, and I actually had the IMF guys on like 4 or 5 months ago, which has been a
Nice.
crazy. Yeah, I don't know if that's nice. Crazy unraveling on that side, but it is what it is. But I mean, yeah, I could just like get right to it. Like, what? Yeah, what happened yesterday with Rekt?
Yeah, look, I think the IMF guys are getting a bit of blame. It's not really their fault. Like IMF is built on Morpho. Morpho is a decentralized borrowing and lending platform. So there's tons of vaults on Morpho, and that Morpho has had its own shit as well. If you look back through the timeline over the last few weeks, but essentially anyone can come in and borrow or lend on any asset that's listed on it, right? And so what IMF allows for there to be is a borrowing and lending market on meme coins. And it's the same things you see with NFTs, right? For example, what happened to us yesterday is the same thing as when you see these tweets about like, oh my god, there's 100 pudgy penguins or 100 apes that loans that are about to get liquidated on Blur or on Gandhi, and then the floor price drops, and then people buy it, then it moves back up. Basically, the exact same thing happened to us, but it was the meme coin version of it, and IMF allows for there to be an active lending market on a bunch of Ethereum meme coins. So that's what happened. There was a lot of leverage on it. Like a ton of people had used Rekt as collateral to borrow USDS, which used to be DAI, and then use that to buy even more Rekt. So it's basically leverage. But instead of having like your stable coins or Bitcoin as collateral, Rekt was collateral. So as Rekt starts to nuke, your position becomes crazy out the water. And I think people added more Rekt to try and get their liquidation levels lower. But eventually, just as soon as one of them hit, it just created this massive liquidity cascade. And I think something like almost 5% of the supply was in this thing, and it just got the entire thing got completely wiped out and nuked yesterday, hence the 75% drop. But yeah, it was pretty wild because I was just sitting here, had a shit ton of work to do, and then I see it drop, and then it just keeps going. I'm just thinking, what the fuck is going on here? And then immediately I was like, fuck, it must be the IMF stuff. Um, and yeah, I guess people who were borrowing on that just got liquidated sadly. So
People are really doing this with like looping meme. Like I don't want to call you meme, but
yeah,
looping like low lick alts like this. Seriously?
yeah. So I think a lot of when I look back through the transactions, a lot of it happened 2 or 3 months ago when the token was a lot higher, and they probably did it and were like, oh, cool, like the token has to drop 80% for me to get liquidated, and they're probably thinking that will never happen, right? Um, Obviously, in the last 2 or 3 months, every altcoin's just gotten absolutely decimated. So it got closer and closer. And I don't know, like maybe someone saw it and was like, "Fuck, this thing is. If I just dump a bit, I can trigger all these liquidations." The good thing
Um,
for us is that you couldn't or you can't. There's no active perps market on Rec, so if there was, someone could have shorted it on perps and then done this, made a fuck ton of money, and then probably longed it and made a bunch of money on the way up. But yeah, there's no active perps market on Rec, so
I was
I don't
trying to
think it was a
trade
bad
on.
actor.
Didn't you
Yeah.
buy Rekt on Hyperliquid?
Yeah, so we have Rect Spot on Hyperliquid, but we don't have enough volume on Hyper. I mean, to get Rect Perps, you need the whole Hyperliquid community to push it and get behind it, and we don't quite have that mindshare on Hyperliquid yet. But you can trade Rect Spot on Hyperliquid.
That was my first. I went straight to Hyperliquid. And I was trying to trade perps. I'm like, oh, it was like
Yeah.
I'm like looking at the chart, like was like, I'm not sure.
Funny.
Yeah, I don't know what to do here until I that's not how we. Does that like DeFi on these alts basically, does it help at all? Like, do you encourage it at all? Like, is it good for liquidity? Is it good for is it good for anything?
I mean, if it's used within reason, yeah. Like, you know, if you borrow a little bit, if you put up Rekt as collateral and you borrow a little bit against it, and you have to make some sort of payment or whatever, and you get the money back, then yeah, that's useful. That's like a, you know, it's like if you take a payday loan, right, and you generally try and pay it back when you get paid. But that's not how. That's not what people do, right? People are, you know, I think the most common use of this kind of stuff, especially in NFTs, is people treat it like a put option, right? If you take a loan on something at, let's say, 80% LTV or whatever, you're basically purchasing a put option with some sort of premium, and you have the option to decide whether you pay your loan back or not, depending on what the price does by the maturity of the loan. So I don't think that's what happened here, because I think people were actually just taking leverage, like using those tables to then buy more Rekt. Because IMF had this function called accelerate, and that's what caused this big pump in SPX and a big pump in MOG, and I guess a big pump in us.
Really?
Earlier in the year, yeah, not so much, but like,
how does it work?
Just
looping?
It's just looping. It's literally just looping. Yeah.
And you think that's what sent SPX super high?
No, it's not what caused like the whole run up, but there was that day when
extra,
it went from like yeah, from like 1.8 to 2.1 or something. It was like the day it got listed on IMF. I'd be curious to check out these other coins. I mean, I think MOG actually suffered its fair share of liquidations on IMF. But I'm curious to see how much as it standing on SPX actually, because for a while there was quite a lot there. You can probably check it online.
I mean, the MOG thing is down pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat was saying MOG was a big suffer.
Yeah, the MOG one was bad. They definitely got hit pretty hard. So
yeah, I mean it puts you in an interesting spot now with Rekt.
Yeah,
like you sort of get like a great cleansing reset, if you will. I would imagine most leverage is completely gone at this point. A lot of overweight token holder. Like if you were gonna sell, you sold at this stage, right? You sold, like you've sold at this point, and you're in sort of like a reset, if you will. Like, do you think about it like that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like if you were a new buyer for Rekt and you went and looked at the holders list and you saw this Morpho thing owned 5% of it, you'd be like, this, you know, I'm not sure. You know, obviously it depends on liquidation levels, but you'd be a little bit like, whereas now that's been completely reset. It went from owning 5% to like 0.27%, which is worth 200K. So the leverage has been completely reset, and you know, those holdings are now distributed. They're out there between more. Our holders have actually gone up in the last 24 hours. So I think both of those are good things. And like, you know, like you said, the reason why you bought it and loads of other people bought it, whether you flipped it or not, like it's fine. But the reason why people bought it was because they knew it wasn't a rug. It wasn't like, oh, Ovi's rugged it, or it wasn't like the team sold their supply or anything like that. Like people know I'm not going to do that. So I think it's very rare that you get a situation where you have a 75% fucking, you know, 15-minute candle and you have a complete reset of leverage, but it's a team that's actually a team that I think, well, I believe I'm honest. It's up to you guys to decide if you think I am or not. But you know, like an actual honest, hardworking team behind it, who's docs, etc. Who, you know, we've got like so much more to come, and we've had a really strong last few weeks and months in terms of what we've delivered. So from like an operational fundamental standpoint, things are fucking amazing. But we're battling with the crypto market. So I think it's really interesting. Like I'm biased obviously, but if I was looking at it and I had capital and I'm thinking, what the fuck do I buy here? Like that's pretty interesting in my opinion.
One of the things, I want to ask a couple of Rekt questions after. One of the things I was saying that on stream after trading it a little bit is like, I've generally been like spot BTC, spot Zcash, and then just like cash. And when things start to go trend towards bear market, TBD where we really are, things just break. And you can kind of like sit around in cash and wait for things to break. And if you have a decent domain ball knowledge of what you would generally like to own in the case of things breaking, who's legit, who's not, you can sort of just like pick up pieces with it. Like, that's kind of what 1010 was, right? Like you could have bought You could have bought.
Yeah.
I was looking at the chart today. You could have bought half the hyperliquid wick, like $30, and at peak at like 50s, you'd be up like 75% from a couple weeks ago. If you
Yep.
just traded 1010, like you can kind of just like wait for shit to break, and then the good coins will continue to exist. The bad ones won't, but the good ones always will. It feels like.
Shit breaks because there is leverage. There's leverage in the system, whether it's on Morpho, whether it's on perps, whatever it is. Like there is, whether someone else has levered somewhere else in their portfolio and that affects their current position. There's just always leverage, and leverage increases as the bull market increases because people get greedy and want to make more money to a point where something triggers and it all implodes. So it then, as you said, it causes things to break. We broke yesterday because of other shit and the market going lower, and then eventually that caused Rekt to break. 1010 broke because of various things. So I think a smart move is to, like, you know, more things will probably break. There's probably other stuff out there. You know, it's sort of like we've watched these things break and they're not really that big a deal. But if you compare it to 2022, the shit that broke after Luna was like, fuck, 3AC went, and then fucking Voyager and the Celsius, then eventually turned out FTX was fucked. Like, just things broke one after another. So like it's all these bodies that come to the surface. But yeah, being patient to find good opportunities, I think, makes sense. But when they come, you gotta trade them, right? You can't just sit there scared. You gotta fucking pull the trigger, and knowing that you'll probably, even if it's just a scalp, you're probably gonna make money on that, because anything that just wicks down 75%, 80%, it will come back up. It will definitely come back up in a short time frame, and you just have to be locked in to take these opportunities, I think. So.
By the way, what did you do when this was yesterday when this was happening? There was a couple. I don't know who, if it was you or who it was. There was a couple wallet. I think one wallet slammed like two wallets combined for like $1 million and just like slams.
No, dude. So what happened was, so this whole thing got liquidated, right? And then one wallet started slamming like about $1 million into token, but they started re-levering up on IMF. Yeah. So the IMF holdings went from, the Morpho holdings went from 5% down to like almost 0%, back up to like 2.5% overnight. And then this morning, European time, that guy got liquidated again. So we wicked all the way. We had two massive wicks down. It was crazy. So that was the guy that guy waving in like $1 million, whatever. He was doing it all on leverage. So I don't know if someone was trying to nuke it on purpose or if they were just fucking being a DJ. I'm not really sure, but because this morning the markets, like Bitcoin dropped below 90, like shit was pretty grim this morning. So yeah, I don't know what the fuck
seriously
was going on there. Yeah, seriously, like no joke.
Well, dude, because I when I saw the second one, I was a little like, all right,
yeah, what's going on?
I don't really want to step in. I think it was Jack in like our team chat was like, yo, it's like happening again. I'm like, I'm not gonna be a hero twice. That's why I said I'm not gonna be a hero twice. The guy who fucking slammed it got licked again. It's crazy.
Got licked. He got licked. Yeah, he got licked for his entire position. So I don't know. I have no idea what that guy was thinking, if it was intentional or unintentional. I don't really know. And yeah, when it happens twice in a row, people lose a bit of confidence. People are like, fuck. So we had to, you know, work really hard today just to put stuff out there, put out updates and be like, this is what happened.
You had really strong comms, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just me just fucking saying shit, but you have to, like, you know, what I can do one of two things, right? I can just sit there shitting myself, thinking, oh my god, this is so bad, and not say anything and just freeze, which is what most people will do. Or you just have to, you know, put your balls on your forehead, as I like to say, and just fucking go out there and just call it out like it is. Like, this is what happened. This is what we're doing to try to fix it, and this is the situation. And like, I think people, it fills people with confidence, because my thought was like, look, I need to. The people who are currently holding, who are still supporting this project, they need to feel confident that I'm the right person to be at the helm, and that we can steer through this, right? If I don't say anything, they're all going to shit themselves and sell, even if they shouldn't. So I think sometimes you just have to, even if it's like not my fault, or if it's things we can't control, we still have to take some ownership of it and just be active. And I did a stream earlier today on it and put some tweets out. Just wrote up a one pager we're going to send out to people as well. So you know, just fucking. Just got to do shit. You can't just sit there and die. You know, sink or swim, right? So
balls on the forehead is awesome. Also, that was the thing. Is right when it happened, they're like wreck. I opened your Twitter and you had like already tweeted like right away, and I'm like, okay, bet. Like he's like,
luckily I was.
You tweeted fast, dude.
Luckily, I was still awake, man. I've got so much work to do right now that I've been up late every night, and luckily I was awake. Because if I wasn't awake, if I'd gone to bed, I would have missed the entire thing, and it could have been worse because I wouldn't have been putting updates out on it, right? So, like Mando was in bed, everyone was asleep. Like Mando ended up getting up.
The first thing I did was text Mando. I'm like, what's like what?
Yeah.
What's happening?
What's going
I
on?
texted him like, wait,
Yeah.
what? What's good? I won't keep you too long, but I mean, what is the current state of Rekt? I think when you came on last, by the way, it was right after 7-Eleven. I think you just did
Yeah, I
this
think so.
in LA,
Yeah.
which I missed you, which was so sad. But you just did the 7-Eleven collab, which was awesome, and like a lot. I mean, a lot has happened since then. What is like the current state of Rekt? What has happened since then?
Yeah, so since then we've sold just over 1 million drinks in the space of about 11 months, which is that was our lofty target this time last year, and we've managed to achieve it. And then we've just launched across 200 Giant Eagle stores. Maybe you've had a Giant Eagle. 'Cause you're
Giant
from
Eagle,
yeah,
maybe. I know
they're in
Giant.
they're in Ohio,
Okay,
Pennsylvania,
supermarket
Indiana,
chain.
Maryland. Yeah, I think there's one in West Virginia.
West Virginia. I'm in
Um,
Virginia. Okay, yeah. There's a couple like
yeah,
relatively close to me.
yeah. So we've just launched in those stores, and we're working with two pretty big distributors on that. So that's like our first
How
proper
many
store
stores?
rollout.
200, you said?
200 stores, just under
Whoa.
200 stores. Yeah, yeah. So it's like it's pretty serious. Like it's quite legit, and they've actually already. I mean, it's been there since Friday. We've actually already had a purchase order placed for more drinks. So if we can crush it on that side of things, then I think it really opens up a whole world of like traditional drinks distribution, drink sales. And like right now, it's just these like sparkling waters, right? But we're gonna have energy drinks, energy powders next year as well.
Whoa.
And we're doing that collaboration with FaZe Esports next year as well, which was like the highest selling energy product in 7-Eleven stores in the US in 2023.
There's gonna be a phase Rekt?
There's gonna be a FaZe Rekt energy product.
Whoa. That's
FaZe
actually
Rekt energy
that's
powder.
awesome.
Yeah, it's sick. It's gonna be really sick. So there's a lot of shit coming. Like on the actual drink side of things, we're killing it, I think. Next year's gonna be very exciting. So I think when we hit those milestones and it's almost like you tell the traditional drinks guys about what we're doing in crypto, you tell the crypto guys what we're doing with drinks, and either party gets excited about the other party. And if we can just, keep pushing that story and keep hitting these targets that we are, I think next year's gonna be very exciting. So I'm very pumped for it. It's kind of actually nice to have this leverage reset and wipe out at this time of the year, because when we start launching and rolling out this other stuff, it's going to be really nice, clean positioning as we
Whoa.
get it back up. So
You guys are making a lot of money right now, or like doing.
we're doing well. We're doing much. Let me put it this way: we're doing much better than I thought we would be this time last year. Like the token's been out for roughly a year, and like this time last year, I was like, oh yeah, we sold all these drinks, and maybe we can get the token to like $50 million market cap or whatever, and we just keep going with our cool Rekt vibes. But then we just somehow went super mainstream at various points this year, and that's when I realized it's like, man, this opportunity is actually way bigger than I even realized it was at the beginning. Especially when you go down like functional energy, focus, hydration, like those kind of products, like that stuff is big right now. So.
If you get to like, okay, you do the 200 Giant Eagle and they sell really well, what happens after that? Like, are you in fucking Wegmans and Walmart and shit? Like, is that on the table?
Yeah, it all goes through your distributors, right? And the distributors we have work with some of the biggest brands out there, like all the brands that you guys will have heard of. We'll put announcements out on that later this week, I think. So, if we do really well in Giant Eagle, those guys are distributing to like tons of other stores across different states, right? So they're like, okay, this thing's fucking selling. We're making money on it. Let's go into these stores. Let's go into these stores. Let's go into this state, and it starts growing from there. So as long as we crush this first one, there's just a very, very clear playbook for these guys to steer the growth, if that makes sense. And eventually, it gets to the way it usually works. It gets to a point where someone's like, okay, I want 10 million drinks, and you're like, fuck, how do I fund that? How do I manufacture that many? And most of these distributors, like, they have relationships or partners or are owned by companies like Molson Coors or Pepsi, and these big drinks companies who end up just like buying a stake in a company or acquiring a company, because that's where you eventually get the funding from, or you get economies of scale from manufacturing and logistics and that kind of stuff. So the thing for us is like, if we can just do really well at this novel way of selling drinks with the Rekt coin, and if it works in stores, like you're going to be able to claim Rekt coin from just getting the code printed out on your receipt, and we've got the tech and stuff ready for that. Then I think it's kind of interesting. And what these stores are telling us, a lot of these guys missed Prime. When Prime came out, people turned down Prime because they were like, I don't get it. And they got into a lot of trouble with their superiors. Like, why the fuck did you guys not put this on? So they're all like, okay, when the next thing comes that I don't get, that's kind of like Prime, we're going to just go all in. And we've literally had like 2 big supermarkets tell us that exact thing, basically. So I think it's a big, I think it's ours to nail, really. It's kind of like on the plate for us to kill it. We just have to go out there and execute it. It takes time to get these things done. Like, that world moves much more slowly than our world does. Like, in our world, you're fucking clicking buttons and trading straight away, right? This world takes weeks, months, to get stuff done. But we'll get it done.
Celsius is worth $12 billion. You know that?
I know, dude. In the last 12 months, there have been 4 major acquisitions or capital raises. Olipop raised at a $2 billion market cap. Poppy got acquired by Pepsi, I think, for $1.9 or $1.8 billion. Ghost Energy got acquired by the Dr. Pepper Group for $1 billion. And Alani Nutrition got acquired by Celsius for $2 billion. And these are all companies that are between 7 and 9 years old. They're not old companies, right? So they've gone from 0 to like $500 million revenues in the space of just 7 years in some of those cases. So, and these are all within the functional space. It's like clean energy, gut health, hydration, all that kind of stuff. So that entire sector is growing at like a 10% compound annual growth rate versus 6% in traditional beverages. So that our pivot into that spot is like, fuck, if we just nail this thing, and then we're not even on Amazon, for example, yet. It's only from our website. When we turn on that traditional switch and traditional marketing spend, which we've done 0 of, then it can get really, really interesting, I think. And that's the upside for this whole story, I think. And it's sort of like you've got to bet on us to be able to pull that off. That's the bet, basically.
What percent do you guys have of the token?
So about 33% of it is owned by the Token Foundation, and those coins are earmarked for community rewards. So when we sell drinks, other community activations, and obviously as the coin goes up, the value of that is massive. When we were at 600 million market cap, that was like $200 million. Now it's worth about 30-ish. So it depends on the price of the token, obviously, but that's a big war chest we have there. Even now, it's still fucking $30 million, right? There's no other drinks company who hasn't raised capital from institutions that's under a year old that has $30 million. And at one point, that was 200. So
wait, this is a side note, but the Prime thing with like, what happens if you were a manufacturer or you're one of these like store chains and you pass up on Prime? How does that work exactly?
So you mean what happened when people turned it down?
Like, what are the long tail effects of that? Like, you just like lose business, obviously, because people want the drink.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know what it was like in the US, but in the UK, when Prime came out, all the big supermarkets here turned it down, and they ended up going to like corner stores, gas stations, that kind of stuff.
And then people those guys were desperate.
Those guys were yeah, they were selling. I remember seeing a Prime energy drink for like 15 quid, like 15 pounds, which is probably like $25 at the time. Because everyone wanted them and there was no supply of them, right? So these guys are making so much money. Like, imagine you're usually making like whatever it is, 20, 30% margin. These guys are fucking making like 200, 300% margin on these drinks. And they made a ton of money. And I think Prime did something like $1 or $1.5 billion of revenue in their first year. It's down a lot since then, but I mean, they're still in the hundreds of millions. But all these guys they lost out on money. They lost out on the hype. It was such a big like viral thing that happened during that time. Everyone was like, I need to buy a Prime drink. It's really bad if you're a big supermarket and you don't have it and everyone else does. Or even worse, you're losing business to a fucking corner store. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Dude, I appreciate you coming on. I know it was a quick one, man. But like,
no,
incredible comps. You said you have some announcements to make this week. I think. What are you putting out?
Yeah, so I wanna. We've got a few things ready to announce. I'm just figuring out. It's always like you want to time it well with the market. I want to make sure it makes sense. We are dropping. We're doing our first merch drop. This we've got. Maybe I'll send you some actually. We're doing our first merch drop. This.
Please, I'll buy it. Just make sure I can get
Yeah,
some supply. Yeah.
these hats. Yeah, they're pretty good. We
Yeah.
got like golf shirts as well. So, but yeah, we're doing that as well this week. So just trying to roll that stuff out. So still a lot more to come. I'm not worried about like doing anything operationally. It's just we've got to keep the vibe. We've got to keep the vibes up because our community is amazing and they've supported us from day one. And I just want to do right by these guys. So in times like these, just got to step up and balls on the forehead, man. Balls on the forehead.
Balls on the fucking forehead, dude. Ovi, it's a pleasure, bro. I always love getting a chance to talk to you, man. Thank you for coming on the last minute.
Of course, man. Cheers for having me.
All right,
Have a good
bro.
one.
Good luck, dude.